Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 23 of What If Naruto Was Neglected and Lost Everything. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, stay in tune for the remaining What Ifs coming your way over on Anime King and Anime King 3. If you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, would you begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Naruto found out that he had a son. The boy that looked exactly like him, that uncle called Tobirama. As Naruto was confused, he didn't know how this was possible. He remembered changing Yumi's diaper when she was younger. Naruto had to leave. He had to leave because he might just lose himself and kill uncle. For all the lies, all deception, he just had to leave. As he just had to clear his mind, getting away from there. Somehow, they were using the boy to activate Sharingan eyes. Yes, Uncle was using his son for Danzo's purposes to activate Sharingan eyes because of his bloodline. It made Naruto furious, it made him angry, as Naruto wanted to kill her. But he had things set up. At the Chunin exams where everything was going to begin, as he was livid at the fact that she did all of this, that she was a part of this. He was angry that through all this time she never felt the need to tell him what was going on, never felt the need to confide in him. He was pissed off. But Naruto remained ignorant to all of this, acting like he didn't know. Karen, when Naruto came home, she rushed outside and hugged him. The reason she did that was because whenever he was near or inside the house, there was this aura, this violent, toxic aura that just seemed to swallow up his very soul, making her afraid of him. As it felt like he wanted to kill someone, like he wanted to literally murder them. So she just had to meet him outside to make sure. She hugged him and make sure everything is okay before that violent aura once again emerged. But Naruto kept his cool as he played along like everything was normal. He trained his team as he taught them everything, until the day finally came for Chunin exams, as he had them participate in it. With that, they made their way. As the test was going on, Sai, when the part of the test came for Ibiki to ask, Sai raised his hand and gave up. Karen wanted to murder the boy. They had passed through and yet the boy gave up, as Naruto knew that this was something Danzo was planning. So, he got Karen and Yumi out of there. As they were brought towards their grandmother, as Naruto was surrounded by ninjas. They resembled Kira ninjas, but yet they had the Sharingan. He didn't know what Danzo was playing at, but none of them were a match for Naruto. He showed them that by slaughtering them. As he didn't know what Danzo was doing, bringing the Sharingan out in the open, but he was up to something. Meanwhile, inside the forest, Sakura was surprised when Sasuke started to praise her skills, as they were able to take down some fake ninjas that were trying to mimic Shikamaru and Choji. She actually blushed a bit, as Sakura had been focused on her studies lately, and not to mention her book work. She wasn't a fangirl like Ino was, who had calmed down a bit but still over the top same way. Sakura was surprised that Sasuke even noticed her, but still, she was focused on her studies, not to mention her ninjutsu, something that she really liked a lot. Sasuke was happy though. At the moment everything was going fine. Ino had been knocked out, and they were waiting for her to wake up back. But he was gonna scout the area and watch, while Sakura gets some sleep. Once everything was done, they would head to the tower because soccer. They got their scroll. So yeah guys, so it's basically that's where left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So what is to begin this new episode? We begin this episode with Shikamaru's team, as it was just troublesome. There has been no team passing by. Shino Bugs were doing a good job trying to track down the teams. It seems that they would have to go for one. Shikamaru was currently in his thinking pose. In front of him, as Shino used his bugs to map out where the team were, as Shikamaru drew it in the dirt. As he then nodded as he looked up towards Choji and Shino. We will take on the Sand team, the one without the Kazekage children. It was kind of strange that it wasn't the Inoshika-cho of their fathers, but it still worked. Really, there was no bragging or nagging from Shino, only plain asking and answering. It felt nice, not having that troublesome woman on his team. Furthermore, Choji was also a kind-hearted fellow. As long as his food stash remained free of bugs, it didn't matter how many bugs flew around Shino. So, Choji, you take the right flank. I'll meet them head on. Offer them our scroll, to see if they already have one like us. If they do have the scroll that we need, Shino, you will start to drain them from the back, while I will stop them on their tracks. But if they manage to get through that, which I highly doubt, Choji, it will be up to you to bring them down. That plan is acceptable, said Shino with a nod. As Choji nodded, alright, let's get to it. Meanwhile, with Katsumi and her team, Kiba halted. Swiftly, Hinata moved to his side. As she was jumping right behind him, she nearly bumped into him, as Katsumi stopped as well. As he sniffed the air for a moment, as he whispered, I smell snake. It's the same smell as that grass, Jenny. The tall one, Kiba said. Hinata bit her lips. She should have warned Uncle about what she had seen in the exam with that woman. But there was no time, and no, she couldn't contact her. I gotta tell you guys, that woman, she is hiding something. Probably a bloodline against the Jayugen. Her chakra pathways, they're constantly shifting and moving. Wait, why would that mean that she got a bloodline against the Jayugen? Asked Katsumi, her twin kunai in hand. Because, Flatboard, a millimeter of moving your chakra pathway around, just by a small millimeter, can lead to your death. And if she can move it, that means she can also free her points from harm when I try to incapacitate her. As Katsumi nodded, skipping over the Flatboard part. So if she come after us, what do we do then? She's close, Kiba said, sniffing the air, but I don't know how close. Something was thrown off his sense. Back against the tree, said Hinata. As they placed her back against the tree as Hinata activated her Byakugan. Yeah, you keep her sight and try to pinpoint her location. I'll do a new whiff, Kiba said as he sniffed. As their back was against the tree bark, no one could sneak up on them that way. But to their surprise, well, Hinata's surprise, the woman melted out of a tree bark. Kiba ducked as the hand came after him. As he felt the movement of the ear just like his sensei taught him, as he rolled, the others quickly moved away. The short laughter of the grass, Kunoichi, could be heard as she fully exited the tree. I'm gonna enjoy this. You're in range. As the woman turned as Hinata was already in her low point stance. Hinata moved as she struck the woman in all of her points that weren't being shifted around at the moment. She jumped back as Katsumi came down, her blades enhanced with wind as she released a fury of attacks and strikes. As Kiba turned and spun, Getsugazi charged right through the grass Jenny. But as he did, the woman fell to the ground, her body turning to mud. The next second, a broken kick slammed right into Katsumi. There was a cracking sound and some of her ribs were cracked. Blood exploded from her mouth as she was thrown. She smashed headfirst into a tree as she was knocked out cold. Hinata slowly turned as she started to begin the rotation, but a sword pierced right through her leg as the grass Jenny was holding onto it with a smile. As she ripped out the blade, the Kusanagi longed for blood, you know. As she licked the blood, Getsuga Kiba roared. The woman nearly grinned as she saw the fangs and claws coming towards her, as she simply dodged it with a simple sidestep. Tis, whine a little mutt. You're really weak. Bad dog, really bad dog. As she hit Hinata in the chest and back of her hand, knocking her towards the ground. Leave my teammate alone, you bitch, Kiba said. As Kiba let Akmar turn red as the both of them start to merge, he flashed through hand sign. Poof! There was a massive smoke that filled the entire area. The grass kunoichi did not move, she just continued to smirk. A giant paw crashed down, forcing the grass kunoichi to jump back with a smirk, as a two-headed massive dog was standing there, more like a wolf. You won't laugh after this. Guraga, the dog shouted, in Kiba's voice. As the thing started to spin, the momentum, ripping through trees, the grass giant was picked up and thrown, smashing through trees before slamming into a rather thick one, as it ended with a twin-headed dog looming over the broken form of a genuine. That's what you get for harming my teammate, you bitch, Kiba said. The woman started to chuckle, caught Kiba completely off guard. How are you? Kiba brought down his paw, decided to crush her, but she stopped it with sheer strength. You're wondering how I'm still alive? Well, that's a misunderstanding. A lot of people have it when they first meet me, she said that grin. From her mouth, an entire new body emerged, completely different from the previous one. Golden eyes, dark raven hair, a predatory smile. It was Orochimaru of the Sanin. His arms extended as his body wrapped around the massive dog within a second. A snake that constricts its prey, never let go. Kiba winced in pain, so did Akamaru as the transformation poofed away. The squeeze being too much for them. What are you, you freak? As Orochimaru licked his lips, as his head reached Kiba within seconds and bit down into his neck. As Kiba started to cry out in agonizing pain, as Orochimaru pulled back his head, he felt like his bones were burning and melting. He felt like his stomach was on fire and his brain was spinning in his skull. My name is Orochimaru, brash one, and I decided that you would be an interesting addition to my army. If you seek power, come and look for me before the darkness swallow you completely. And with those words, he tried to leave. As he tried, because wires flew down with kunais wrapping around him, as a female voice shouted, fire style. Flames rained down, burning the man's body, but to their surprise, it turned into mud. Anko gritted her teeth in frustration as she jumped down on the branch. She moved as the branch was slashed with the Kusanagi blade. Anko cursed she shouldn't be here. She was pregnant. She hadn't even told Naruto yet. And here she was fighting her former sensei, a S-rank criminal, in the forest of death. She was an idiot, yet she had to do it. She had to take him down, she had to get her revenge. She had to get her revenge for being used and being abandoned by him. My dear little Uncle-san, you come to meet your sensei. Aw, how cute. Tell me, did you finally learn how to use my gift? Never, she said. I'm never gonna use that power. As she dashed forward to try and stab him right in the forehead, but he simply tilted his head as he licked her forearm. She jumped backwards trying to slash his neck, but he simply moved. Someone has been screwing their teammate. This, Orochimaru said. As Orochimaru launched his arms towards her, she leaped. She flipped away as he noticed. My, afraid? Maybe. You're afraid. So tell me, does he know? Uncle thanks, but she did not reply. Oh good, he said as he called back his Kusanagi and grabbed the hilt. So, he won't mind, as he pointed the Kusanagi towards her stomach. Bye-bye, little Senju, he said. As Orochimaru moved with that incredible speed, Uncle turned as she leaped away. Orochimaru launched a blade as it stabbed right through her leg. She cursed as she dropped on the tree branch, holding on to it as she used it to pull herself up. Orochimaru called back the blade as the blood started to run down her leg. You bastard! He will be here soon, you know? But soon enough to save you, Orochimaru asked. Or will you bleed to death before, or not? As Orochimaru looked around, seems like that will have to wait for another time. We'll meet again, Uncle-chan. Then he vanished. Without a trace, in the blink of an eye, he was just gone. Damn it, Uncle cursed, as she held on to her bleeding leg. Damn it, she had acted rashly. She felt his presence as she came in to intercept him. What was she thinking? Naruto was going to be pissed for this. Well, not really, but she was going to receive a stream of words from him that wouldn't stop for a couple of weeks. The moment he would place his hand on her to heal her wounds, he's going to find out that she's pregnant. A second later, Kakashi arrived. Strange, she thought it was Naruto. Well, it was better this way. Kakashi, what are you doing here, she said. Saving your life, for one, said Kakashi. Meanwhile, with Naruto, so maybe he should have acted more rationally, throwing a couple of medics into the wall because his daughters wasn't there. Maybe that was the wrong way to act. But they weren't dead, they were fine. But people was gonna get hurt if he didn't find his daughters soon. He sent his daughters towards Snazzy. His mind was overrun with thoughts that Snazzy was in from the beginning. No, his mind was just being paranoid because Uncle had betrayed him. Things were not thinking rationally in his head. He had to calm down. His mother would never do that to him. Maybe she just brought him back to the compound. But he went to the compound. There was no one there. As Naruto felt something different from a panic attack as he couldn't find him anywhere. As he was starting to lose it. As Naruto made his way back and searched the Senju compound once again. He slammed his fist into a nearby wall, shattering it. As he closed his eyes, fine. No more Mr. Nice Guy as he closed his eyes and entered his mindscape. He made his way towards the mirror where he could view through Uncle's eyes as he stood there puzzled. So, it was the Uncle's idea since she was in the forest of death, being healed by Kakashi. What the hell was going on? He returned back to the normal world. Something was happening out of his control, and he had to do something about it. As he made his way, he headed for Tobirama laboratory, until something hit him on the head. It was a small pebble from a chameleon that launched itself and landed on his shoulder. The thing whispered something into his ear, as it then poofed away. As Naruto looked up towards the monument, his eyes burned with rage. As he clenched his fists, "You're all bastards. To be Hokage meant something, but you bastards! You know what? Fine. I'm done. I'm done, you hear me? Now, I'm out for blood," he said. The ground underneath him exploded as water emerged in a wild tsunami, pulling together as it froze over, standing still in the Senju compound, not melting. It just stood there. As Naruto quickly made his way off, it's time that things begin. Meanwhile, Minato cursed. He had to blame Kiri for something that was Danzo's doing. He couldn't blame Danzo because if he did, he would have to admit that he was a part of the Uchiha slaughter. And to make it even worse, he'd have to admit that he was the one that sent Itachi. Worse, Itachi would find out that he ordered the deaths of those that Itachi asked to be spared. So, he had to blame Kiri. He had to forge fake actions done by the shinobis in Konoha. He had to forge documents. As he looked towards the report of the Kiri Jonin, Main Jutsu and Kojuro, both swordsmen of the mist, it was going to be extremely difficult, not to mention the political backlash that he was going to suffer and be caught up in. But he had to have a number of eyewitnesses before bringing back visible data reports to Kiri, especially since recent change after the Bloodline Wars. There was no way to tell what was actually going on over there. But in the Bloody Mist, one thing was always known. People there was headstrong and always willing to fight to the death. He just needed something, anything to Hokage-sama. "They've left the village," Anvu said as he appeared with a lion mask. "Damn it, they must have had a spy in our midst. No choice." Continue the exams, increase the border patrol that lead towards Kiri, and send Inoichi and Ibiki to come here immediately. "Yes, Hokage-sama." Minutes later, Danzo came into the office. "Danzo, do you realize what you've done?" "I am doing what has to be done, Hokage-sama. My sources have told me that Kiri is nothing but a puppet being led by the Akatsuki, and you would have us declare war in the Chunin exams?" "No, I am having Kiri being blamed for the Uchiha slaughter, trying to take the life of the head of the Senju clan, and for kidnapping his daughters." Minato's eyes went wide for a moment there. You didn't." "I did, Hokage-sama. You can't be serious. Danzo, one thing is planned for him to become the next Hokage through trickery. But this is completely different," said Minato. "This is the right thing to do. He's under the impression that the Akatsuki is a good force, freeing the Jinchurikis from their pains. When he finds out that Kiri is behind the slaughter of Itachi clan, and they were the one that was responsible for destroying their friendship, and once we tell him that Kiri worked for the Akatsuki, He will help us. He will help us destroy them. You idiot! Itachi knew that we're the one behind the slaughter of the Uchiha clan, said Minato. I know. That was my price to pay for my loyalty. But until my last breath, I will keep Konoha safe no matter what. And if doing so include destroying Kiri, then it shall be done. Itachi will accept to be reunited with his family. Its crimes will be null and void. And you can reveal that it was a long-lasting mission the entire time. That he wasn't behind the slaughter. It was Kiri. Think about it. The plan is working perfectly. And what if Itachi speak with Naruto? But Itachi won't speak, Namikaze, said Danzo with a smirk. I can be very convincing about it. You're still going to die by his hands, said Minato. Well, maybe I can avoid that. You have nothing to worry about, Hokage-sama. Just sit on your chair and be the village leader and the hero. I'll handle everything else. Fine. But I'm warning you, if you harm any of Naruto's daughters, I wouldn't even dream of it, said Danzo. As he nodded, Minato was thinking something, but the thought quickly vanished from his mind. He shook his head as he sat down. What was he saying? Of course Kiri deserved to be blamed for this after all. They were behind the Uchiha slaughter. They murdered the Uchihas, and they tried to kill Naruto. He couldn't let them get away with it. Yes, he could not, Minato thought to himself. Meanwhile, as Danzo left, there was a smirk on his face. Everything was going according to plan. Meanwhile, as Danzo made his way, he was smirking until he got back to the root cellars. What the hell do you mean you did not kidnap them? Danzo-sama, they were escorted out of the hospital by Tsunade Senju herself. We lost them. Danzo cursed as he turned toward the 16 root operatives in front of him with a Sharingan. They will have to do. Tsunade can't have gone that far. Find her immediately. Yes, Danzo-sama, as root operative vanished. Laughter could be heard, as worrying as every other politician. As always, the laughter came from the corner. Danzo's eyes snapped over to the side as Orochimaru appeared. These rooms get darker by the moment, I admit. You have news, said Danzo. Oh, I do. And as long as my payment is ready, you know I never fail. Indeed, the Akatsuki is on the move. They will strike during the last match of a tournament. Will you be ready for that? Orochimaru asked. Obviously. Now let's make another deal. I'm listening, Orochimaru said, as he looked up at the cold, damp ceiling. I need you to find the Senju's daughter. Deliver them into my hand before the exam. Final start. And might I ask why? After all, you did tell the Hokage you have them. Danzo narrowed his one eye. How did the man even have spies in Hokage's office? How could he hear what happened there? So you already know that Kira isn't behind this. Orochimaru simply shrugged. It's not like I care, and also, I rather enjoy when bloodlines were running away from Kira, running right into my delicate hands. Oh well, we can arrange them, said Danzo as he tapped his cane on the ground. Good, Orochimaru said, as a set of harsh, slicing wings ripped through the cane. Then I want Tobirama. You, why would you, Danzo asked. You could have your own maid, couldn't you? All you need to do is perfect the Hashirama bloodline by implanting it into a still growing fetus. You could avoid all the loss implications by doing that. A pity I tried. But I need Senju's blood and flesh to do that. So I want the brat. Just fake an accident. Accidents happen. Even if I did, what do you think I could offer to Midarashi? I already got one child, and that was because of Hokage orders. Well, it's simple, Orochimaru said. Kidnap the second one. Or are you telling me that you can't? You will bring me the Senju's daughters, right? Danzo growled lightly. I will, but you know I always have to be paid in advance, said Orochimaru with a smirk, as Danzo growled. The next moment a root operative appeared, with a small blind boy in his arm. Then take him. But all I need. Danzo flashed a hand sign as Tobirama dropped to the ground, holding on to his head in pain. It's a single hand sign to kill him, said Danzo with a smirk. Directly inside of his brain. My Danzo, you're cruel. But as you know, as I keep my side, you will keep yours. And if he dies, Orochimaru's eye glow. Danzo merely scoffed as he removed the hand sign, Just so we understand each other, Orochimaru. Oh, we do. We always do, said Orochimaru, as his pale hand touched the boy's head. Kirsten is here. As he carefully looked into the boy's sightless eyes, while more than the bandages, as he whispered something in the boy's ear. Well then, you will get your precious Senju daughters. As Tobirama shivered, not understanding but knowing something was extremely wrong. And with that he was taken. As Danzo simply smirked. Meanwhile, with Anko felt like crap. It wasn't the painkillers, because she was pregnant. It wasn't the lack of her husband, because he was with his team. It wasn't the fact that her daughters hadn't even come by to visit her. It wasn't the fact that she nearly risked her newborn baby life to battle impossible odds. It was the fact that her stomach was twisting in regret and pain. She had tried to go for her S-rank mission notice, for the Hokage eyes only. But she had failed. Someone had burned down the entire archive, stealing her notice of her mission. There was nothing that remained. Nothing at all. Meaning that, on one side, she was free from the Hokage's menace without evidence, but the Hokage could simply call her back to write the mission's objectives, and starting back over everything. But the Hokage hadn't called her, because she was always supposed to be busy, keeping Naruto on the good side of Konoha. But now that she actually had time, if the Hokage ever passed by her to sign the S-rank mission at the hospital room, it was going to start all over again. She hoped that she wouldn't have to sign that form again though. She prayed, yet the door opened as her heart sunk. As she saw Kushina Namikaze stroll in, with a casual smile, as she sat down in a chair next to her. Anko at first had hated Kushina's guts, but she knew what the woman did to Naruto. But when she was told by Naruto that the woman did not trust in him, but she believed in other people, not knowing that he had a faulty seal, and it was actually Katsumi who went crazy that night. She hated and loathed the woman's entire being for doing that to her son. But in the end, the Hokage gave her another version of the story, one where Kushina has simply made a misinterpret of certain circumstances. She made a mistake that led her to act irrationally, and by then there was too much involved, too much at stake to bring back Naruto in the family without renouncing his shinobi status. And Naruto would never do that. He always wanted to be a shinobi, to become the Hokage, but she was a coward and an idiot. She never had the strength to do anything about it or say anything about it because of the Hokage. She wondered what the hell she was doing here. We need to talk, Anko-san, said Kushina with a light smile. What is this about, Namikaze-san? Asked Anko. Well, I'm not a politician, so I'll cut to the matters. As the woman produced a set of papers that Anko noticed with the official, one for the S-rank mission. I know that my husband would probably not approve, but I can convince him to not put these back in the archives. You understand? Of course, there's something I want. Wait, how did you... Please. Husbands can't hide things from their wife, no matter how they try. So I know about your devious plan, and how it is going on. Kushina said, if you ever find out, you'll be heartbroken. You know that, right? You. Just tell me what you want, said Anko with a growl. First of all, we are hereby friends. Anko's eyes widened. Yes, we are friends now. Second, we would like to be a part of our grandchildren's life. If you understand what I'm saying, then it's all good. And these, she said, hold up the papers. They can disappear in a moment. But if you don't, I understand, Anko said. At times I don't know who to give Yumi-chan to for babysitting. Anko clenched her fist tight, but she had to do this. She had to do it to keep her family together. Good, said Kushina. As she put away the papers, they can disappear. Kushina-chan, I need to rest now, said Anko. Oh yes, and I can't wait to see my new grandnephew or grandniece coming out. By then, we will be the best of friends, Kushina said. As the woman left, Anko lie there, tears filling her eyes. Damn hormonal, making her cry like this. Meanwhile, somewhere else. So, is everything going along to the plan? Yes, Sensei, a voice said, as two people or in an unknown place speak to each other about some sort of plan. Time skip. The tower at the center of the forest was there, like a beacon of hope for the two members of the Senju team who had their eyes open, Kiba was still unconscious. He was feverish. He was shivering most times, and his teeth were clattering. Strange, flame-like patterns appeared over his body for a couple of nights before returning back. They had been lucky to find the scroll that they needed. Katsumi had woken up first, who quickly went towards Hinata and woke her up. Her medical ninjutsu really came intact right there for them. They actually met Kakashi along the way, who was sent by the Hokage to take them out and have this seal being taken care of. But they had refused. They all wanted to prove to their sensei that they were strong, that they didn't waste his time training them. As they arrived, as they read the totem, they placed the scrolls on the ground. Nothing happened until there was a poof. As Naruto Senju could be seen, his eyes were hidden behind the sunglasses, while his one eye, the other one, was still covered by the patch. But it looked like it was filled of pain, regret, anger, and rage. Sensei? Said Katsumi, as she looked at him worriedly. You three, said Naruto, as he gritted his teeth. What were you thinking, he asked, as he took Kiba away from them. You let him keep that on for 5 days. Could you be more stupid than I thought? I taught you better. I thought you would have valued your comrade more than a stupid exam. You've disappointed me. Head over to the infirmary to get checked up, and come back when the bell rings for the second part. Without another word, he left the area, leaving the both of them fight back their tears. Katsumi lowered her head. Hinata straightened back up. Look, Flatboard, we have no choice now. We both become Chunins and get Sensei to forgive us. Or we hope that he doesn't transfer us into another team. Fine. We have to win for Sensei forgiveness and for Kiba's. Meanwhile, as Naruto brought Kiba to a room with kanjis all over the place, as he placed him in a circle-like pattern. Akamaru, stay out of the circle, will you? As Akamaru barked as he stepped back. As he whimpered, he was afraid for his master. He'll be fine, said Naruto. As Naruto went through hands and placed hand on the ground, as all the kanjis spin and went towards Kiba, crawling up his body as he wrapped around the seal on him. Future Hoin, said Naruto, as the ink shined brightly before leaving a stamp-like circle around the 3 tomos that Orochimaru placed on him. Kiba then slumped on the ground, his breathing far more regular. Let's get into the infirmary now, a good night of rest, and he will be as good as new. A bit pissed for losing the exams, but it's better this way, said Naruto. As he reached for the infirmary, he was stopped by a limping uncle. Uncle? He questioned. His question was met with a low growl from her. Where have you been? She snarled. She paused as she saw Kiba's neck that was still visible. Is that? As Naruto simply nodded. I'll get him to the infirmary. You should go there too, by the way. What happened? Uncle skipped over the question. I can't find Yume or Karen. Are they out on a trip with their grandmother? I mean, you could have left me a note on a trip of where she went with them, you know? At the question, Naruto tensed slightly as he went to the medic bay and placed Kiba down in the bed, as he did not even speak to Hinata or Katsumi. Oh, hello you two, Uncle said. But the two girls were just eyeing their sensei worriedly. Okay, enough silence. What's going on here, Uncle asked as he looked towards student, the teacher. Why don't you tell me, said Naruto. Why the hell? You decided to face our ex-sensei in the force of death, instead of going to the Anvus, or even saving my students. No, you went for a senseless suicide mission. Uncle took a deep breath while he was angry. She expected this, seeing that he didn't come once to see her in the hospital. Look, Naruto-koi, You can shut up, said Naruto. These two thought it would be fun to think they could reach the tower, still risking their own life, and that of Kiba as well, for a stupid exam, when neither of the three would have been able to defeat an academy student in their conditions. And I had to learn this from Kakashi. Because you were knocked out and you were in a delicate surgery. Because you were pregnant. And you didn't even think to tell me. So, tell me what reason your mind came up with. You should have stayed in the damn tower. So when Karen or Yumi was kidnapped. Uncle eyes wide hearing that. Then you could have been there to do something. But no. No, you weren't. So I can't watch my student fight because I have to go and track down the kidnapper. As Uncle tried to reach towards him. Yumi, her baby was gone. But what about Tobirama then? What's gonna... Naruto pushed her away as he left the room. As Uncle dropped towards the ground, hyperventilating. The medic was on her trying to calm her down, but she wasn't hearing any of it. Her perfect heaven Her perfect peace gone. Could she use Danzo to make him forget about his daughters? No, she couldn't. They were her daughters as well. And in the end, she would miss them. They were a part of her paradise. She thought Naruto was angry, not coming to visit her. But instead, he was looking for their daughters the entire time. She felt the need to cry, just like when she was a kid, being told that her parents were killed, and she was now all alone. She didn't even realize that Katsumi helped her get onto her feet, and he helped her get towards the bed. Nor did she realize that Hinata was gently patting her head. She just felt so alone. There was no longer the mystical mates to bring back all problems. Danzo couldn't help her to bring back Yumi and Karen, could he? If he could, what price would he ask? She held a hand over her stomach. She bit her lower lip. She had a choice. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, she said. As she got to her feet and made her way, she had to reach Danzo. She had to bargain with a man. She had to bargain with the king of darkness. Her unborn child. For her daughter's safety. It was the only way she saw. Always going to him for problems. Always going to him to solve it. Every single problem. As she left, the bell rang for Hinata and Katsumi to participate in their battles. Time skip, arena, preliminary matches. 20 Genin stood in lines of 4 as he watched Hokage give his speech. Minato had a smile on his face as he spoke to them. But the smile was fake as he was hiding behind his thoughts of what was going to happen soon. Someone else entirely had entered the game. Now it was going to be a problem finding out who did so and why. It could have been Akatsuki that kidnapped Naruto's daughters. Or it could have been Orochimaru, or Danzo, or Itachi. Minato didn't know who did it. As he finished his talk of Katsumi's team, he realized that Inazaka was the only one missing. But since they all arrived in the tower, they were granted pass. It simply meant that the poor boy will have to wait until next year, hoping that Naruto, as a Hokage by then, would let him go with that cursed seal. Minato knew that truthfully, its time as a Hokage would end. Yes, it would come to an end really quickly. It would be soon. He only hoped when the time comes, his son would be the one to take his place. But he had hope, to get him to warm up with Katsumi and Kushina. Katsumi had did some actions that made him rather pissed off at her. He hoped that she could mend that, and return to back what things were. But something was off after all. The girls did not fight anyone for a scroll. Because they were too weak to do so, someone gave them a scroll. They found it. That is what they did. Right in front of them as they were walking. A scroll that was perfectly set for them. Who did? He did not know. He handed over the reins towards Hayate, who pointed towards the board. As they started to go through names after, he finished explaining. Katsumi Namikaze versus Sakura Haruno. As the both of them made their way into the center of the ring, while the others went back up. Katsumi looked at Sakura, who seemed to be at ease as he stretched her neck, and rolled her wrists as she bounced the ball for her feet. Katsumi-chan, give me a good match if I win. Kakashi-sensei promised me 5 new jutsus, Sakura said. Ah, so that's why you're not worried, said Katsumi. She was worried, as she didn't want to harm Sakura, but seeing that there would be no ill will, and no problems, maybe she could go all out as well without any problems. Nope, said Sakura. The cheerful smile of Sakura seemed a bit forced, because she was trying to forget about the Uchiha recent behavior. There was no way she was going to fall for the Uchiha. Where people saw the powerful dojutsu, the bloodline, she didn't like that. She saw the Sharingan as a way of copying and cheating others' success, and she didn't like that. As the proctor told him to begin, Katsumi had to dodge a fireball as the match started out, but Sakura had the intuitive move. She did not move. She created a clone as she hid in her illusion, making it look like she was a clone that was moving, but it was not her. As she was still in her illusion, as Katsumi started to move forward, the ground underneath her broke by a minor discharge. Lightning release, electromagnetic murder. Sakura was cheerful as the electricity burst through her hand and cracked the ground. Katsumi threw a kunai, using it as a lightning rod. As she jumped back, the moment she landed, she was barraged around by fireballs. These, however, didn't follow straight lines. They were coming and twisting towards her. It took a moment for Katsumi to realize Sakura had wire in her mouth that she was used to pull with the other wire attached to both of her hands. In truth, they were just shurikens with the wire, ninja wire attached to them, enveloped by flames. Fine, you want fire? Take fire, said Katsumi. Wing style, they double. The shurikens that was inside double. As the flames got large as they flew the other way, as it all came rushing back towards Sakura, as she leaped backwards. In doing so, however, she dropped from her mouth the wire. And that was a big mistake. No longer guided by something, the shuriken stopped following a straight path. And with no constant chakra output, the fireballs exploded, some in mid-air, flinging the shrapnels all over. Sakura brought her arms up, and the next moment she collapsed on the ground with a thud. Molten metal on her arms and chest. As she used her arms to cover her face, the proctor looked at the scene with perplexity. That much carnage in the first match, he didn't expect that. Winner is... Sakura slowly got back to her feet. Sakura Haruno, can you still fight? Asked Hayate, as the girl was back up, her breathing ragged. Hayate looked closely as he sighed. Katsumi, Namikaze is declared the winner of the match. Hey, Sakura is still on her feet, Ino yelled from the upper floor. Ino, said Kakashi. Sakura is still standing, but she's no longer awake. What? Said Ino. No way. Hayate watched as he called over the minute names who took away the girl. As Sasuke felt something inside of him twist. Strangely, Ino, Sasuke said. Get to the finals and let's avenge Sakura. Ino looked towards him. Yes, Sasuke-kun, she said. Forehead was gonna be so pissed when she realized Sasuke has given his trust to her. Kakashi smiled under his mask. For once, the Avenger had a nice thought in wanting to avenge his teammate. Down below, Hayate coughed as a scream flickered once again. Hinata Hyuga versus Neji Hyuga. As Hinata made her way down, as she stood on one side. As Neji stood there, he didn't look like he was ready to fight. Neji, get into your damn position and fight me, said Hinata. Hinata-sama, is something troubling you? Asked Neji. His voice was filled with sarcasm. Hinata bit her lip. You know the damn reason. No, I do not. What is it? The fact that I refuse your help in changing the clan ways. Live with it. I rather die than follow a main clan Hyuga, no matter how gentle they look. Why does he always protect you? Why does he always praise you? Why do you always stand in his shadow, getting all the praise? Said Hinata. Neji simply grinned. Maybe. It's because I'm worth the praise, and you're not. I'll show you, she said, as she charged her fist imbued with fire chakra, only to be met with equal force. Both attacks hit at the same time as the flames flicker around. The both of them then started a brisk, flawless taijutsu. They were perfectly equal. None of them were landing any damaging blows to the other. Minato watched the scene down below him. The both of them were tuning material, but only one could pass on. Probably he could have the other promoted, but then again, he wouldn't be in his office by the end of June exams. The both of them jumped away after another series of attacks. It seems we won't solve this with a normal Jayugen stance, said Hinata. There is nothing to solve. I will never back down until I die, said Neji. Oh, I'll hold you on to that then. Don't hate me for showing who's the strongest. As she shot forward ready to hit all of his 64 points. This was only taught to the main members. There was no way that Neji, as Neji moved forward as well, to her surprise in his same hand sign. Hinata froze for a single second. Neji changed his trajectory as he grabbed her wrist and threw her. She slammed against the wall as she took quick breaths before getting back up. But that was... Who taught you that? She said. Sensei always said, what can be seen can be copied as well. The Sharingan is overrated, said Neji. As long as one has eyes, one can copy. But it seemed that the precious heir of the family won't be able to win this. It is strange how fate seemed to work. Fate? I'll show you fate, she said. As Hinata's hand came up with a symbol to activate the seal on Neji's forehead. For a moment, the entire arena froze, as no one think the girl would go that far. Even Neji held his breath. He dropped on the ground as he started to scream. Surrender or die, Neji, Hinata said. But he just screamed on the ground as he reached for something in his sleeve though. What are you doing? Are you really gonna die? Rather than not admitting defeat, Hayate looked at the boy as he was told by numerous branch members and uncles about how much pain that seal could cause, and it could fry your brain and destroy your eyes if overused. But yet the boy was bearing through it. He had to stop the match. He raised his hand Never, Neji said, as he slammed something onto his forehead where the cage bird seal was. Then Neji stood back up. As Hinata stood there shocked, the words died in her mouth as she couldn't even say what, as Neji was upon her in seconds, his right fist cracked into her stomach, as he went into a furious first fist style mode, as it was taught to him by none other. Yosh! Go on, my youthful student, guy said. Neji is gonna win with a strong fist style, guy said Lee. Yes, let the power of youth burn brightly, Neji. Hinata on the other hand received a lot of damage. Her right hand was broken. She felt a couple of her ribs crack as blood came from her mouth as she dropped to the ground. The activated seal, Neji said, stood over her. Fate cannot defeat me. She raised her hand as she cancelled the seal. Winner, Neji Hyuga. I don't believe this, said Minato. That was a chakra suppressing seal. He fought her without chakra. It was so simple and yet so brilliant. Seals require chakra to work. Remove the chakra in the seal is nothing more than a tattoo. And he had the training, physical training to yosh! As Minato looked up towards where Guy was, on the top balcony looking down, with a smile on his face. Well, he did have the physical training down. When Hinata woke up back, she saw Katsumi looking down at her. I lost? Sensei will never forgive me. He won't. That's for sure. But not for the reason that you think. The voice came from her father, not Katsumi, as Hayashi was standing over to the side. Dad? I'm sorry I lost, she said. No, you should be sorry for what you did. I spoke with Neji, and you did far worse than losing, Hayashi said. You're forced him to rely on something that can actually nullify the cage bird seal in your fight. When news of this circulates through the branch family, do you know how much tension will rise? Then what? It's my fault, he couldn't just die. Katsumi was shocked. Just like it's my fault Hanabi died, right? I should have seen it with my precious Byakugan and avoided it. But no, I had to do it. I killed my little sister because it was clearly intended by me. Hinata, we are not discussing that issue, especially in front of strangers, said Hayashi as he looked towards Katsumi, who simply gulped. I just want to tell her I'm up against Neji when the finals arrive. The day after tomorrow, they anticipate for some unclosed reason. And well, just get out of here, Katsumi. I have to speak with my father, it seems. Katsumi nodded as she just rushed outside, closing the door of the infirmary behind her. She had no idea why her father said that the finals were tomorrow. Shouldn't it take longer? Still, the majority of people are there. Even the daimyo, it was strange. Minato would stay behind to watch the rest of the fights. His daughter was gonna face off against Neji, but he wasn't worried at all. She was ready. As he schemed through the other future battles, he rearranged his thoughts. The daughter of the Kazekage who had defeated Tenten would face off against Shikamaru. Shikamaru had faced off against Kin, the Sun Girl, and defeated her. Lee then faced off against Matsuri, that 9-year-old Genin from the Sand, and defeated her rather quickly. Really, was the Sand lacking so much on Genin to resort to Academy graduates? Sasuke had faced off against Yori, and Choji had lost to Zaku, the Soul member, and make it through the finals. But the thing that was on the man's mind right now was Naruto. He just hoped through all of this, Danzo's little scheme would work, and Naruto would be kept in check. He knew that his wife was trying to worm her way inside his life. He hoped there was some kindness left, because if Naruto explodes, all of them are going to be in the rage of the explosion. But something was bothering him though. The Kumo team, none of them made it back. He looked which team delivered their scrolls because they were numbered. To his surprise, his daughter team had been the one to bring back their scroll. How did they do that in their condition? It made no sense. He should ask Naruto to give him a report on the seal condition, but he will have to wait. Naruto has been searching through the entire village for the past 5 days. Even the envoys had refused to go on patrol where Naruto walked, because his gaze was just murderous, scaring all of them. Because he looked like at any moment that he was going to snap. Naruto felt like it was coming anytime soon now. Yes, it was coming. He still didn't know what happened and who kidnapped the girls. But Naruto was going to lose 10 times soon. He needed to make sure the situation is quelled. Danzo's plan. It seemed to be breaking down little by little, and things were only getting worse. But guys, in the end episode right here, if you want to see the next part, so do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications to be posted. But I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.